From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
Lamont Hatcher is the founder and CEO of Apex Infinite Solutions. Apex is the Vendor of the Month from the Indianapolis Office of Minority and Women Business Development. Meet the King of Comfort and discover his unique approach to business. And we get some business advice from the only active owner-driver in the NTT Indy Car Series.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Lamont Hatcher is the founder and CEO of Apex Infinite Solutions. The company says it provides innovative solutions to enhance business efficiency. Apex is the Vendor of the Month from the Indianapolis Office of Minority and Women Business Development.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Lamont Hatcher, CEO, founder of AIS, or Apex Infinite Solutions. We are a managed service provider here on the north side of Indianapolis. We have three different markets, SMB, commercial, or enterprise, and the federal government. So on the SMB side, we're more focused on providing a 24/7 help desk. On the commercial end, or enterprise, where we're providing full stack development, IT staffing, cloud services, and then on the federal government side, really chasing federal government opportunities, pretty much in the IT sector as well. I'm originally from the west side, Ben Davis High School, go Giants. Went from there to IU and then began consulting for IBM. And that's really where I started learning how to deal with customers and just understanding customer needs and customer engagement. From there I became a CIO for a medical billing firm and then started this firm, really going back to my consulting days 12 years ago. It was two things. One, during my early consulting days, I saw what I was billing and what I was making. So that was one. And the second one was when I was a CIO for the medical billing firm, I had a really tremendous, awesome manager who really taught me about running an organization, company culture, employee engagement, etc. And she really encouraged me to go out and start my own. So when I felt like I was ready, I went and had a conversation with her. And she pushed me out the door basically and said, go do it. Having the right people around you. One thing that I heard very early on was it's all about timing. Business is very much so about timing. And you have to have the right people around you because it's impossible to be in the right place at the right time. So you need different people in different places to make sure that they're hearing opportunities and saying your name in the right locations when you're not there. Having the minority certification allowed us visibility so that other people were talking about our business besides us, because ultimately, while we can be out, preaching to the choir, we need someone on the other side of town or in another meeting or in another boardroom to be talking about, oh, I know a company, AIS, and that's really what the minority certification did for us. Community engagement is very important. That's one thing we actually pride ourselves on, really over the history of AIS. I was looking the other day at just some of the organizations we supported, and I saw it was like 30 or 40 different organizations that we contributed to, whether it was time, talent, or treasure. In some form or fashion, we contributed to so many different non-profits in the community. That's just really important. So one of our company mantra is forward-thinking innovation that drives efficiency. That's really important, specifically when you're thinking about our SMB customers who don't necessarily have access to the same resources that, our larger, more enterprise customers do. So we want to make sure that we're bringing that frame of mind to those specific solutions when we're dealing with them.
Time on Business, Equity, and Opportunities when we focus on an industry. Mark Wilson is the owner-operator of King of Comfort Heating and Cooling. He has developed a truly uncommon and successful business strategy in a very competitive industry.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
I am Mark Wilson, owner of King of Comfort Heating and Cooling. We started the business back in 2003 as King of Comfort Heating and Cooling. Prior to that, I was actually a appliance repair company, and we basically decided that wasn't the direction we wanted to stay with the company, and we became King of Comfort in 2003. I am actually the founder of the company, so we started it ground up to where we are now. My situation was kind of sparked by a decision to basically stay working for someone and knowing that would be my end goal, but having the desire to actually do things that they weren't doing at the time and possibly wouldn't be interested in doing, that caused me to strike out on my own and just take the leap and told myself I'm going to just sink or swim, because the parachute was to go back and work for someone if it didn't work out. But I didn't have too much of a plan B, so my plan A was to strike out and start the business and make it work. The competition is very, very, very big or major. People like how I was when I started, they have a dream and a passion for something, and they start out in the truck and, do the work themselves. The competition and trying to gain some market share and mind share of consumers to basically make them aware of who we are and what we offer, that is very competitive, especially when you're operating off of not a big marketing budget to get the word out. So we relied upon word of mouth. We're doing it one job at a time with excellence, that we will continue to have that snowball of word of mouth marketing that will allow us to continue to grow and also to sustain us. I think with my overall vision for the company was to be hands-on. I remember years ago, kind of name dropping here, but there's a gentleman by the name of Eric Dickerson. He had a auto dealership, and he would have a radio show that would come on Sundays, and he would always say that I'm always in the dealership, so come by, I'm always there. That was an approach that I wanted my clients to know, that if you have an issue, you had a concern, you had a question, I'm here, I'm accessible, and my team is here and accessible for you. Do I desire to grow? Definitely I desire to grow, but I also want to maintain that personal touch. I consider ourselves comfort concierge versus, comfort managers or comfort salespeople. And I say that because I want to listen to what your needs are and then try to formulate what's the best need for you, because not all the time is it that you need a furnace or air conditioner replacement. It may just be a tune-up. It may be just adding a humidifier because the air is dry. So I look at what your comfort concerns are and make the personal approach to customize your comfort need. At this time, I am still in a van, so I wear a couple of hats here, but I do have employees. I'm at the point now where I'm trying to wing myself, but still be available for clients in a manner of where they can be access me as well. But the goal is to actually reproduce what I am. Even within my technicians that I have now, I'm grooming them and training them for entrepreneurship. I stress to them that it'll be great to have you as a 20-year employee, but beyond that, I would like to see you have your own business. I would like to see you have your own dream if this is something that you want to do. But in the meantime, and stressing that to them, I'm always on the lookout for recruiting opportunities, for bringing other people in, other skilled technicians in, and even acquisition opportunities for growing the company that way by acquiring other companies or opportunities that may present themselves in that manner. The young people that I'm actually bringing in. We have a tendency to look at young people and think that they're a kind of a lost generation, but there are actually solid young people that have a desire to learn a skill, learn a trade, and understanding that they may not be quote-unquote college material, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need more plumbers. We need more electricians. We need more heating and cooling guys. We need people who have entrepreneurial desires to be fostered. That's what excites me, and then knowing that heating and cooling is a skill and a trade that's going to be around for a long time. So it's definitely a viable career to get into. I like the consistency of the clientele that we have. I like the relationship that we have with even when we're walking into like a grocery store or something, the excitement that a customer would get, and when they see me out, because they're so used to seeing me in a uniform, and they'll see me in regular casual clothes, and they're like, "Aren't you our heating and air guy?" "Yeah, I am." So I get excited about that just as well, when we're in the community and doing things like that too. And also it's been great for me and my family. On a personal note, I've graduated 2 children from college with their master's degree. I have a daughter who is a truck driver, and I have 2 grandchildren with her. And having a business allowed me to see each and every step of their growth, maturity, and be a part of their lives as they move into adulthood. So that was one of the biggest things about starting the business along with my wife and trying to accommodate our lifestyle and have the quote-unquote life and work balance, as they say. So that's the beauty and the things that excite me about the industry, the business, and the future of where King of Comfort can go.
Time for a favorite segment on business equity and opportunity, success story. In 2011, after a long-awaited IndyCar win, veteran driver Ed Carpenter announced he was putting together his own racing team. He would be both owner and driver for what became Ed Carpenter Racing, and the responsibilities that go with those jobs, of course. We caught up with him at the team's headquarters in the west side of Indianapolis to find out what it means to manage the business and the pressures of IndyCar, and to learn lessons that can apply to other business owners.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities Success Story.
We're here at Ed Carpenter Racing's, we call it a race shop. Other people would call it a headquarters or something else, but it's our only quarters. So our race shop, garage in the back where they build all our race cars and prepare for all of our NTT Indy Car races, and then kind of we're up in the lobby reception area where our small administration offices are as well. I was driving for Sarah Fisher's team in 2011 and had met a partner and sponsor late 2010 who was trying to help me that year and in 2011, and the timing wasn't really right. I accepted a job with Sarah. Over the course of 2011, we got to know each other more, and actually he called me one night. The president of Fuzzy's Vodka was the company at the time, called me. Heather and I, my wife, we were watching TV. It's probably like 10:30 at night, and they're like, "Hey, we're over at Ruth Chris. Your dad's here. Stuart's here, talking about starting a race team." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And Heather was like, "What was that about?" And I'm like, "Oh, Tony, Stuart, and Eric are at dinner and talking about starting an IndyCar team." And she's like, "Should you go over there?" And I'm like, "No, it's like 10:30. They've clearly maybe had a Fuzzy's cocktail. I'll see if they're serious tomorrow." And had a conversation the next day, and it was definitely a serious idea, and so it wasn't my idea. It was brought to me, and it was one of those situations where it did seem like a big risk. I had always had desires to own a race team. I never really envisioned starting one while I was still kind of in the middle of my driving career. But when an opportunity comes along like that, and if I would have passed up on it, who knows if that chance would have ever come along again. So, certainly happy that we proceeded forward with it, and it's been a challenge, but it's been fun. I'm kind of the only full-time driver owner, but there's been plenty before me. Michael Andretti did it, AJ Foyt did it, Bobby Rahal, Brian Herta did some of it. So it's kind of been something. Sarah Fisher did it as well. There's always been driver owners. My run's probably one of the longer ones doing it. It was probably more of an adjustment in the early years than what I realized or even accepted at the time. But as you get into the rhythm of it and cadence, and we've got a great group of people here. Our key leadership positions have really been the same since 2012. So with that continuity and over time, it really makes it easier for me to kind of switch on and off of, whether I'm worrying about the business or focusing on being a race driver, at different times of the year and the calendar. It's easier and easier to do that just because of the relationships that we have here and the continuity and just the flow and the routine that we've established, over 10 plus years. Things change, the cars change, the political landscape of the series and sport changes. The core of it, it's very much the same. We're a people-dominated business, meaning, how well we do. The driver's in the spotlight, the cameras see the race car and the driver. But, we have right at 50 people here, and, our success and our failures, it's a team effort always. And that really hasn't changed. operating a race team has always been challenging. Pretty much 100% of our budget annually is either derived from sponsorship and selling sponsorship, or your ownership group investing money in capital. There's only a couple sports entities in the world that are just making money day in and day out. So it's been a grind in motorsport, whether you're in Indy Car or NASCAR, wherever. It's a challenge, and something that I don't think is necessarily worth it unless you really just love what you're doing. In racing, whether it's on track or off track, there's way more things that we can't control than what we can. We can't control the economy, we can't control what our competitors do. We can control the things that we focus on, and our processes and how we treat our employees and the culture that we have. So I think for me, I try to just keep it simple and focus on the things we can control, manage the things that we can't, and just try to do the best job we can every day. My dad was a leader, a CEO and president of companies, so I felt like I adopted a lot of his, character and attitude towards managing people. I think that's really where I kind of became who I am, just from watching him. He's a partner in the business too, so still a resource that I can lean on. But having quality people and empowering the people that you have to do the job that you've asked them to do, I think is the most important thing. I'm involved in everything at some level, but I'm actually responsible fully for very few things. Just a couple of the big things, driving the car and trying to make sure we have the resources that we need. But on a day-to-day, whether it's Tim, who's our team president, or the engineers out back, I want to, at a very basic level, make sure that I understand what they need to do their job, and then do the best that I can to give them as many of those needs as possible. We live a unique lifestyle with a lot of travel and not always normal, predictable hours. I'm very lucky with what we do. I have a lot of flexibility in my schedule, so I'm probably more fortunate than others in different careers, or even employees here, where I can come and go a little bit more to make sure I find the time or create the time to be there with my family when they need me. And at the same time, they're able to really be a part of this and travel with us and kind of be a part of the team. Our youngest is 11. He was born after we started this, and he's kind of like, he is part of the team. He knows everybody, and he comes to more events than anyone else in my family. But it's fun being able to have them be a part of it. None of it would be possible if my wife didn't kind of manage both ends of the family, myself and the kids, and everything away from the team. I definitely couldn't make it work without her sacrifice of making it all work. But it's enjoyable for us. The kids travel less now as they get older, just because they have their own schedule and lives and friends. When they were younger, they came everywhere, and they probably missed far more school than they should. But they've literally seen the country and been to about every children's museum that I think our nation has to offer. So they've gotten a different type of education around the IndyCar schedule. Professionally, being in the car still is the most enjoyable part of what we do. I do enjoy the dynamic of leading a team and being a part of all our people's lives, but driving the car is still the best thing here, and then from that, on kind of the home side of things, just seeing our kids be successful, whether it's in school, sports, happiness, whatever, just trying to build them, into prepared young adults that will hopefully have a successful launch out of the house here soon.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV, or live stream it through WishTV.com. Each week, we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is BEO@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunity Show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.